Hello, class. We are starting up our unit on Jimmy Corrigan, Smartest Kid on Earth by Chris Ware. So I thought I'd introduce the novel by showing you some techniques for analyzing it, for introducing you to a few of the occurring themes and symbols, and talking a little bit about who Jimmy is and what we can glean from this story. So I want to draw your attention first to this full page right here from the graphic novel. First thing that jumps out to me is this giant boyish face that we see right in the middle. It's almost as if it's an emblem. And these two men crawling out of the mouth of this boy. So first off, this whole image right here, I think looks like a superhero logo. Now, the idea of a hero, specifically a superhero, as you can see on Jimmy here, he's got a little Superman insignia on his shirt, is very important. And arguably, this book is about the death, the elimination of the idea of a hero. Additionally, this book is about boyhood and immaturity in a way. It deals with Jimmy here and four generations of Corrigans, Jimmy being the youngest. So one of the recurring themes is portraying each character as an old man or an adult male and as a boy, and actually how their mannerisms are very similar, both when they're an adult and when they're a boy. So that's one of the big themes that I'd extrapolate from this image here. This is the face of a boy, a child, eating, swallowing these two adult men. And it even seems, if you look at closely the hands of Jimmy and Jimmy's father here, they're trying to escape. So now that we've discussed all those ideas, let's actually look at the sequence of events in this panel, in this entire page. So here's Jimmy on the toilet taking a poop. So let's look at Jimmy's mannerisms. Let's look at his body language. What is this sequence of images communicating? It's not so important that he's, well, on the toilet. But what is important is that if we look closely at Jimmy's physical position right here, his head is in his hands, his elbows to his knees tucked together, he's in the fetal position. Especially if you could imagine this image of Jimmy from the side. It would look like he was crying in the fetal position. So this says a lot about Jimmy's character. He's passive, he's vulnerable, he's sensitive, he's unsure. And this, in a way, is ironic. More importantly, throughout this entire page, what is the emblem? What is the image? What else is being communicated about Jimmy? He has this blue sweater with the Superman insignia on it. So, does this look like Superman? Does this look like the body language, the imagery of a hero? Probably not. That is pretty ironic. So now I'm going to talk about another one of the main themes in Jimmy Corrigan, Smartest Kid on Earth, that is time. Specifically, how time passes, what changes over time, and how time affects families and generations. So here on your left side and right side, we have two totally different pages, totally different panels from the graphic novel Jimmy Corrigan. Here on the left side is a moment from Jimmy Corrigan's great-grandfather's life in Chicago in the 19th century. And if you look very closely, this is most likely a omnibus driver, and here's Jimmy's great-grandfather getting on the omnibus. Over here on the right side, this is actually one of the last pages in the entire book. Don't worry, no spoilers. This is a big panel that says "and so," and here's Jimmy Corrigan in the same intersection in present-day Chicago, standing in the exact spot that 4 generations ago his great-grandfather was standing in. So what does this tell us about the story of Jimmy Corrigan and his family? Well, I would argue that this is another inference, another hint at the cyclical nature of life, and what an incredible factor that is for not just Jimmy, but many different players and people in his family. So I want to analyze one last page from Jimmy Corrigan that is probably unlike anything you've ever seen in any sort of text. And this is the really special aspect of graphic novels. So there are two important details that I need to point out regarding the form of this page. First, the panels do not follow a linear sequence. The story does not go left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right, or up to down, up to. And of course, one other detail that I need to point out is the frame. The frame around each image, characteristic of a graphic novel. The frames of this page are abstract, to say the least. And in fact, they sometimes expand and overlap with each other. So look at this frame that's a close-up of a document in Amy's mom's purse. It extends all the way to point out the little detail in the above frame, breaking into the frame above it. Same thing here. And how about these two frames here? This frame of Amy connects to a moment in Amy's life in this timeline. Again, a picture of Amy, the frame extends and expands and points out a moment in Amy's life in this timeline that Ware has drawn for us here. So what does all this mean? Well, it gives us a snapshot. It gives us an explanation of Amy's birth and adoption, and even, here's Amy currently, what Amy will be in the future. That's not even in the story. And Amy's story is told through photographs, through moments that are depicted by the narrator, through documents, through sperms and egg, through a high school yearbook. Very interesting. So class, your challenge will be to find every example of this sort of storytelling mechanism. There are multiple pages like this in Jimmy Corrigan. You're going to have to find them and begin to start analyzing them. Look at the details. Look at how the panels connect. What does this tell us about the story? And what does this tell us about the form of the graphic novel?